Good evening, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining me. I'm really excited. This is another one of our incredible cooking shows that we get to do, and as has become tradition, I didn't eat today, so I am going to try really hard to have any questions or anything not be related to how good does that taste. But today I am joined by Lorenzo Beronilla. He is a prolific actor. He admits he fell into his trade accidentally after being asked to audition for a commercial because of his cooking knowledge. It was his childlike approach and good knife skills that helped him get cast in his first commercial in 2013. This gave him the confidence he needed to pursue acting full-time. He's extremely busy maneuvering between shooting industrials, commercials, and films to his cooking gigs on the popular Epicurious series, 4 Levels, and their other hit show, Pro Chef vs. Home Cook. Beloved for his boisterous personality and contagious laughter, his videos have gained millions of views online. He has been featured in Business Insider as one of YouTube's newest viral food personalities. Lorenzo lives and cooks up a storm in New York's Hudson Valley. Lorenzo, thank you so much for joining me. And I should say, I lied earlier when I said I hadn't seen the show. I have absolutely seen Pro Chef vs. Home Cook, and I'm now thinking back on it, and I'm like, yeah. Did you do one with ramen? Am I making that up?
Yeah, ramen. But no. Did I do ramen? I did do ramen. Of course I did ramen.
I saw that one. Okay, so I have seen it.
Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah, that
was a really, really yummy one too.
It looked
and
good.
That's also in my book, there, Drew.
There you go.
I have
nice plug. Yeah. All right, so what are we making tonight? Because again, I'm this is my moment. I get to look at food now.
You do? Oh, goodness. Well, it is really, really something. I'm making 2 of my very favorite egg rolls. One's actually a spring roll because of what we use use as a wrapper. I'll actually show you. A spring roll is it's my veggie roly-polies. They're vegetable egg rolls. Nice. But I'm using spring roll wrapper, which is basically rice paper. Mm-hmm. Very thin, very pliable, but you have to keep it kind of under wraps until you use it. I'll also be using, I'm really truly, in the heart of hearts, a meat and potatoes guy. Yeah. So, a steak, baked potato, a little corn on the cob, that's me. So I kind of invented, many moons ago, a beef and potato egg roll. Just one night my niece was starving. I had nothing but leftovers. Mm-hmm. So I kind of whipped things together. I had old leftover mashed potatoes. I always have ground beef. And I had onion, garlic, blah, 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 soy sauce. I whipped together, and I just made this family favorite that everybody's been enjoying, and all your friends will love it too. Meat and potato egg roll. It's called Bubba's Meat and Potato Egg Roll. Oh, and you'd love that if you like a good hearty kind of meal there, Drew. Oh, yeah. And I'm actually using it's a flour-based wrapper. Okay. So there's 2 different wrappers. Mind you, you can use whatever wrapper are readily available. These flour-based ones are in every grocery store, honestly. The rice paper one, the rice wrapper, is more in specialty stores. But you can find them or even order them online. Mm-hmm. But let me get started, all right?
All right, bring it home.
It's fairly easy peasy. First of all, whenever you're making any dish, you want it to be nice and beautiful and colorful. So, because I make this for a lot of special occasions, or just anytime I have guests who want something different than a salad, a same old salad and some dressing. So I came up with a beautiful vegetable egg roll, and it's simply just some vibrant colored aromatics and vegetables that you have handy. I use Spanish onions. I love Spanish onions. You can use any onion you want. I use carrots, green beans, purple cabbage, green cabbage. Do I have to use both? No, but I do because it's nice and pretty. So in this pan, this is nice and hot, I'm going to add the onions first. I'm going to add the onions. Whoops, a little carrot went in there. I don't want to super brown this. I'm going to just make this a little bit translucent. I'm getting a little bit of the sugars out. Easy peasy, nice and light. You're just not fully browning this here. So, of course, if you watch the show, you guys, hopefully you do, you should know I love my favorite spice, red pepper flakes, RPF. Sometimes I say RFP for some odd reason. I always mess up. Forgive me. But I love red pepper flakes. I like it a little spicy. That wasn't that much. I like doing, maybe a pinch or two. And I like to break it up into the oil and get it infused into the onions. And, I can already smell it. Wow. It's hot today. So, again, it's only a few minutes that you're just sauteing these onions. Everything's chopped fairly the same size because you don't want anything poking out of your egg roll wrapper whenever you're trying to make this into a nice uniform egg roll. Yeah. So it's only been a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. I can really go ahead and just go for the rest of these vegetables already.
All right.
I haven't added any seasoning yet. I will in a sec. So beautiful carrots. That's for the sweetness. Just like you're making the tomato sauce, you use carrot instead of sugar to make it sweet. Green beans. I love green beans. I love snap peas also, but that's for a different recipe. Beautiful red cabbage or purple cabbage and regular green cabbage. Easy regular green cabbage. So far, I haven't really done anything too hard, have I? I'm going to add my pepper and my salt. I love this little gizmo gadget. And we're just going to sweat this stuff. Sweating is just make it reduce, make it loosen up a little bit, get a little bit translucent. And as you can see, Fred Flintstone allowed me to borrow his spoon today.
That's a good neighbor to have, though. So while you're sweating the vegetables, let me sweat you a little bit. Let's make it more difficult. You got to cook and answer questions.
Sure, I love it. Any questions? Go for it.
So I sort of asked this a little bit before the show, and you told me, wait. So I got to know, how did you get started with cooking? Where does that passion come from for you?
Oh, goodness gracious. Honestly, everybody in my family cooks. I come from a huge family, and I just remember always going to parties. Whenever you're little, that's all you kind of really remember is big gatherings, because it's the easiest to kind of embed in your brain. But how I started was I was the youngest of everybody. I come from an enormous family, so everybody was my babysitter, or they handed me off constantly because they were kind of tired of babysitting me. So I always found the last babysitter would come in, and the people would be in there going, I'm tired of babysitting this guy, just leave him in the kitchen. So they literally just plopped me down on the counter and kind of handed me a couple of spoons and spatulas, and I pretended I was kind of involved with what's going on in the kitchen, and that just was my home. That just was so comfortable for me. I loved what I was watching. It was like a TV show of all these people, running around, cooking, frying, rolling, cutting, chopping, laughing, very loud. And cooking always reminded me of family. So I just enjoyed it every time I kind of started making my own stuff.
Yeah.
Was that sappy, Drew?
That was a great answer. I love it. I think that's, it comes from family, and I think that's where most of the great things, in life come from. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really brings me back to roots. I have great cooks in my family. I don't think there's one person who can't cook very well in my family. But I just learned from them. I just watched every time. I'd steal something there. I'd get a tip from them, a flip tip, as I call it. All right, I'm going to add garlic. I add lots of garlic to these. These vegetables will just soak up all this garlic flavor. Of course, as you see, I did the garlic after the onions and everything because I minced my garlic. If I put it in with my onions, the garlic would burn, and that's a no-no. We don't want that type of flavor in this right now. Next, I'm going to add my shiitake mushrooms. Thank goodness there's fresh shiitake mushrooms readily available in any grocery store. They never did that, but when I was younger, I always had to get the dehydrated kind and then rehydrate it, which is no big deal. You can totally do that. And the sauce and the flavor from the water you use to boil the mushrooms, you can strain that and use that and put it in a soup, put it in a sauce. It's awesome. this is one of my favorite aromatics, and one of the most important aromatics. I think I use it in most everything. It's just a simple scallion or a green onion. This really kind of seals that Asian persuasion flavor in these egg rolls. I love the onion flavor, but you cannot make these egg rolls without one last ingredient, and it's a simple bit of sesame seed oil.
Ooh.
A little bit goes a long way, and if you guys like it spicy, go for it. There are so many different brands and levels of heat of sesame seed oil. Go for it. This one's a little mild because I'm going to be serving it to a few people who might not really want to eat. But see, this is really it for this. You're going to just saute this for a good 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It's going to render some water out because we added salt. Of course, the cabbages are going to just drain some water out. You're just combining the flavors. Everything's infused. Honestly, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this into a strainer and cool it off. And as it's cooling, it might drip a little bit of the juices. Those juices, do not throw that stuff away. Anytime you strain any food, don't throw it away. You could probably use it in a different meal. So what I'm going to do, if there is some juices that come out and that are drained, I'm going to add that to a dipping sauce that I will make for specifically for my veggie roly-polies, which is called flip dip.
Lorenzo, I got to ask you, do you know Daniel Dower? Because they asked a question a minute ago saying, "Oh, I love egg rolls. Do you like to use sauces with them?" It's like,
oh, funny.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, wait a second. And then you queued me up perfectly.
How funny. But that was a great segue there.
Yeah.
Definitely sauces. In my book, I have many, many sauces. And, of course, I suggest what to use them for. But the great thing about all the sauces in my book particularly, you could use them as salad dressings. You could use it as a meat topping, anything. Flip dip is a great example. All flip dip is garlic crushed and smashed, salt and pepper, a little bit of scallion, put in vinegar, and you're going to add a little bit of this sauce. That is flip dip. Vinegar and garlic really is like the idea of what I was trying to get. But a lot of times I've seen people pour that on pork chops, barbecue pork chops, fried pork chop. I think it might be an Italian thing. I'm not quite sure. But that's one of the dips. You don't have to stick with it. I love sweet and sour sauce. So that's my Lucky Ducky sauce in my book. Yeah. Use it here. Any sauce you want is fantastic. And another good answer to your amazing question is, the next egg roll I'm going to make is beef and potato egg roll. I actually just use ketchup, or I use ketchup mixed with sriracha, or if you want to serve it other than just an appetizer or a tapa, you can make larger egg rolls, and I will show you how to do that, and cut them on the bias and serve it as a kind of like a fried chimichanga or a fried burrito. It can be a meal. Serve it with your favorite sauce, your gravy, an au jus, whatever you like. So it's cool. It's a really interchangeable. But there is definitely, I need sauce. I love eating. I do love eating. To answer your question, I always serve it with a sauce. It might be something out of the blue, or I make it up, or it's from my book.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm actually that was not long. We didn't really do anything to that. We just kind of sauteed this slightly, rendering some water out, and that will, if it does drain out, it's fine. It really kind of depends on how much cabbage you use. I'm only doing a small batch. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing the full batch, you might have a little bit of more water that comes out, and that you can use for your flip dip. I'm going to set this aside and cool. You can either set it aside, put a towel on it on your kitchen counter, or throw it in the refrigerator if you're in a hurry. Okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is actually, I love this because I'm a meat and potatoes person.
Yeah.
It's Bubba's beef and potato egg rolls. Just to let you know, I make egg rolls out of everything. I've made meatball egg rolls. I make pizza egg rolls. seafood egg rolls. I mean, you really can make egg rolls out of anything. Pulled pork egg rolls, you guys, it does not matter. You know what? I'm losing it because I love everything I just mentioned, and I'm going to do pulled pork next because it's amazing. That's another show.
We've got a question here from Rachel, and she wants to know how many people will this serve? So I'd assume with the amount we just made, how many egg rolls are we making?
That is only half a batch, so that will maybe make 6 to 8, depending on what size you make. The full recipe in the book is 10 to 12. Again, it's up to you to adjust the size. I'll show you the 2 sizes that I typically make, and then you can go from there. You can kind of figure it out. It's like, oh, I see. This is the regular size for 12, and then if you make it bigger, it'll be like a 6 to 7 egg roll. But yeah, great question. I'll be right back real quick. I'm going to get some ground beef. All right. I just came back from the store. I got some ground beef. I love using 80-20, as in 80% lean, 20 fat. Why?
The perfect burger ratio. That's the magic.
That's the yumminess, man. Mm-hmm. Now, some people use, the leaner one. It's all good. It's fine. I just like to incorporate the fat in a lot of my food. It's almost like it's not that much fat. It's not like it's a piece of bacon and you're rendering so much oil. You'll see how much fat that it's in here. It really is dependent on that 80-20 quality, or a 75. It might be 85 to 15. Some good beef, like really expensive beef, it might be super lean, and sometimes it's not good for something like this. So the more or less expensive meat is absolutely fine. But this is my go-to, 80-20. I'm going to use the same pan because it's nice and hot still. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of veggie oil. I love veggie oil, you guys. Now, what I do with my meat here is I actually treat it like I need texture. I'm trying to get some texture out of this. So I want to brown it, okay? The big mistake that a lot of people out there do is they kind of put so much meat in this little pan, and it ends up boiling your meat, and you're going to end up with gray food. I don't know about you, but I prefer my meat with a little color. Yep. It's a little bit nicer, and it tastes good. So I'm just going to break it up real quick, and I'm literally going to just really brown it, almost like you're browning or searing a steak. That texture is delicious. If you're going to make tacos, you guys, do the same technique. Your tacos are going to taste like slightly more flavorful, and you're gonna say, why? You're actually those brown bits is just adding tons of flavor, and you really didn't do anything but just make sure that every bit of it is browned properly. So I have a nice size skillet, and this is only about a pound of meat. Again, this will also serve about 10 to 12, depending on how you want to serve it. If you want tapas or hors d'oeuvres, little snacks, they'll be on the thinner side, so you can make a few more. But typically, a round one is about 2 inches in diameter. If you really want to serve it as a meal, you can serve it thicker, a couple of them on a plate, cut them on a bias, and put your favorite gravy on it. And guess what? You got a different kind of crazy little meat and potatoes meal. It's pretty cool.
So I am a huge fan of anything wrapped in pastry. So yes, wrapped
right?
Whatever. Just I'm there for it.
I totally agree. I totally agree. What you want to do here is you just pick out prepare your mashed potatoes. Okay, I like to make my mashed potatoes, but please, if you have instant mash, it's okay. The only reason I like to make my own mashed potatoes is because I like it chunkier. I love it not perfectly creamy. I like it chunky. I also like to bite into the beef and potato egg roll and have a nice chunk of this buttery buttery potato. So you will see that what I have here, I did a little earlier. Basically, it's just russet potatoes. Depending on the size of your potato, I usually use 4, but they're huge nowadays. And I just grab 2, 3. I chop it, I peel it, chop it up, I boil it for 20 minutes, start with cold water that is salted with kosher salt, strain it, and then I let it cool or basically evaporate even more and dry out because we want it a little bit more flaky, a little bit less mealy. And just take the cover off and let it dry out for another 15 minutes. Add yourself a little bit of cream and butter and smash it. I literally put a smasher in it 5 times, and however it turns out is fine with me. Some's mashed, some's chunky, some's not. Does not matter. Doesn't matter, you guys. You don't have to be fancy. This is supposed to be easy peasy meals. Can you turn that the burner on, the high burner? First, yep, that one. I'm gonna throw this in the burner real quick. I will be right back there. You have another question for me, Drew?
So yeah, I personally do. When it comes to all the different kinds of egg rolls that you like to make, what would you say is your favorite one? I know, picking your favorite kid here, but
you're tricky question. It's actually in the book, and one's actually not in the book. So my favorite, more extravagant, I only say extravagant because I grew up eating it only at parties. It's called tekya, and what it is, it's a pork and shrimp egg roll, and we use we use the fat flour egg roll because it's a little bit hardier. This is the only one of the egg rolls in my book that is not cooked through. So you need to poke those, and it says in my book, you need to poke it with a fork or a toothpick before you fry it because it's uncooked inside. But that is this. It's really kind of funny because it's really known to be this decadent and party egg roll because you cut them on the bias a few times. So one egg roll will be cut 1, 2, 3, and you'd have all these pieces of it, and that's how people would get it. It's like almost too great to serve one whole. You're lucky if you got a whole one. But interestingly enough, many generations ago, I found out that it's actually was street food that they used to sell on the side of the streets in the Philippines. It just years later and generations later, it became this fancy schmancy kind of pachancy thing.
Yeah, that's how it is. Now it's you think about it. People are talking about the movement of farm to table and using different kinds of cuts and meats, and so much of that was what the poor people had, and now we crave it.
Absolutely. Look at skirt steak. That one used to be nobody would even use that. They would actually leave that to the butcher. They would not even sell that to the public. Skirt steak, flank steak, they wouldn't sell that to the public. Now it's so popular.
Yeah. I've got a question here from Tyler. Ooh, Tyler, bringing a tough question. You're going to get in trouble.
I love it.
You mentioned that your family all liked to cook when you were a kid. Who was the best cook? We all know there's always one.
Wow. Okay. I'm not going to get in trouble.
Okay.
It would have to be my older brothers and sisters because my mom can't cook worth a crowd. No, I'm just joking. Of course, I learned from my mom, but she didn't enjoy cooking as much as we did. But they were very busy. They were raising so many kids, and they had careers, so I got it. So, of course, we had to learn from Mom. Dad didn't cook, really. Dad barbecued. But my older brothers and sisters, they love to cook. We all love to cook. I think it's because after your parents are home from work, they just yell at you and call you to the kitchen and say, if you want to eat, you better start cooking.
Yeah.
So I would say that's who I learned from primarily, but all of my uncles and aunts are great cooks. They learned from their family just the way I did. But I'm the guy who really chill out in the kitchen. I kind of that's my time to put the world to rights. I dig it. Yeah. I dig the cleanup. I dig the cutting. I don't care how extravagant the meal is. It can be a burger.
Yeah.
I like it. It's kind of cool. It's my chill time.
Absolutely. No,
yeah.
I am the same way. For me,
oh, yeah?
I've got friends who watch me cook, and they're like, is chaos, and it is. I've got things boiling. I'm grabbing this. I'm just moving around. I'm in a blur.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm just listening to music. I'm doing my own thing. I'm in the zone. It's great.
Yeah.
Daniel has a follow-up question here. So
okay. Daniel wants to get me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Once we've got fillings, does it matter which kind of wrapper we use with regards to the different fillings?
Absolutely not. The only reason I pair the rice more delicate wrapper, which is, if you look at this, if you don't, this will break if you don't have it under a towelette. Mm-hmm. This is very flimsy, very delicate. It's more elegant. So the vegetable egg roll, my veggie roly-poly, I like to serve it more as a light salad or a light egg roll. Mm-hmm. So I like to use a more elegant and light wrapper. If I was to wrap it in my egg and flour based wrapper, mm-hmm. that's a little heavier. It tastes totally fine, but it's not necessary. It kind of like defeats the purpose of I'm serving something yummy and salad-like to, I'm going to get my egg with meat in a minute. Anytime I do serve meat, though, if my egg roll is a meat-based inside in the what I'm going to be wrapping, I like to use the flour base, the heartier one. Mm-hmm. Why? It's a little sturdier. I could really kind of just not worry about it breaking as easily as a rice paper. But sometimes I wrap it twice with a rice paper because a lot of people love that crunch. And it's just a lovely crunch. I might even wrap it a couple times today. But generally people wrap it once and you can see the beautiful colored vegetables that are sauteed inside. Mm. It's almost those uncooked vegetables that you see with that rice paper that you just dip into water, and it's a very pliable rice paper, and it's like shrimp, and it's just like beautiful fresh vegetables. That's a different type of egg roll, but it's elegant. So that's the idea behind it. But please, by all means, use whatever you want, but you'll see that you'll end up using flour base for meat. Veggie will be the rice.
Okay, cool.
Did I answer that right, Daniel? Did I get you?
I'm sure Daniel will come back with us if we.
All right. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get my beef. Okay. All right. So what I have here is just the beef ground. I'm gonna break it up a little bit. You actually don't have to break it up too much because whenever you mix in the rest of the stuff, it will. And I put it into a piping bag. It will kind of melt together. All right. So what you can see here is I have rendered a lot of oil. Depending if I want this really, really, who am I serving this to? If I want to serve it to my family, I'm going to leave most of this oil in and have it just soak up into my potatoes. But before I do any of that, I need to add onions. I need to add some onions and garlic. So using the rendered oil from my beef, I'm going to saute my onions. And I'm just going to throw in my garlic right away. Okay? So those aromatics are just going to soak in that delicious beef flavor, the fat that was rendered from the beef. Delicious. Salt and pepper, always salt and pepper the beef, just like a burger. You need to make sure it's seasoned properly. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a quick saute. So far, it's nothing extravagant. It's pretty easy. I mean, you've kind of done this. It's almost like am I making a bolognese sauce or something here? It's that easy. Now, again, we're just going to do this quickly. The oil is really, really hot. So these onions and the garlic are really going to turn translucent pretty quickly. I could already see it, and I've only had this for about a minute. So let's do this. Now, if you're making a huge batch of this, you will have a lot of rendered oil because you have that fat. Go ahead and strain that. It's totally fine. But don't strain all of it, or else all the yumminess is going to just leave and throw you in the garbage. So I'm going to be serving this to my family. My family loves a lot of flavor. I know it. So I'm not going to mess with it. It's already, the onions are soaking it up. It's yummy. And my potatoes are going to soak it up. So when I add my potatoes, it's going to also just be flavorified. Is that a word? Flavorified?
I think it can be. I think you can trademark.
Okay, it is now.
Yeah.
It is now. Tonight it's a word. Now, we love it with a lot of potatoes. Again, I said we usually typically use 4 good-sized russet potatoes. This was only 2 Gigantosaurus russet potatoes. So I'm going to see... I love seeing the potatoes mixed in, for sure, but I don't want it to kind of not be present. So let's see how much we do or need. So we're folding it. You don't have to be particularly gentle with this. It's all going to go to a piping bag. You're going to be piping it in. That's my technique I love to use. You certainly don't have to use a piping bag, but to make it easier for yourself, why not? And it's more uniform. Every egg roll is going to be the same size, depending on how much of a hole you cut into the piping bag corner. Makes it easy. All right, other questions, Drew. Let's do it.
So, okay, my next question for you has got to be this.
Yeah.
Does your family have a favorite one? Is there? I mean, you said the meat and potato one. You already said the meat and potato one. But if someone's not into meat and potatoes, if they're not feeling heavy tonight, what's the go-to?
Go-to is what we were brought up on, which is not in the book purposely because it's just something that I just wanted to make more of a different flair of my for my egg rolls. It is basically called Shanghai egg rolls. Lumpia Shanghai is really the full name. Lumpia Shanghai.
Okay.
And it's a pork-based egg roll. It's pork, and they will be very thin. It's what you see at all the restaurants. Well, at least Filipino restaurants. Yeah. They're very thin. They do use this spring roll, the rice wrapper. It has all our favorite yummies that I love. It has scallions. It has water chestnuts. It has shiitake mushrooms. It has pork. It has soy sauce. It has an egg, flour to bind it. But it's really salt and pepper. It's the go-to. To me, that's like that's my everyday kind of egg roll. You serve that at every party. That is just a kind of a staple kind of thing. You go into a party, there's some lumpia Shanghai.
Yeah. So you're going to the right kind of parties. I don't get invited to there's food like that. I show up and they're like, "There's pizza. Do you want pizza?" And I go,
"Oh
yeah,
no." I'm telling Drew, I have to tell you, these parties were, and I was little when I first was kind of awed by it. I just remember they would just put picnic tables after picnic tables together. And I thought it was to sit together, but it was literally just to put all the food out. It was rows and rows and rows of food. Whatever you can absolutely would think of, from chicken to pork to just tons of egg rolls, lots of vegetables. It wasn't your typical potato salad kind of party. It was very much like noodles. We had pancit, which is that noodle-based Filipino pasta that we like. It's made from pancit bihon and pancit canton. It's fantastic. There's pork tapa, that's like a sweeter pork. We would eat it for breakfast, but you also serve it as a meal. There was a pig roasting on a fire with a darn apple in his mouth, and my uncle pouring Coca-Cola to baste it. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you.
Parties. Yeah.
It was always a good party. There was never any lack of food. It was always an abundance of food, I have to tell you. And we always went home stuffed and with leftovers. That was our favorite part. I'd be eating it in the car going home.
So I've got a question here from Buzzy Body Boy. If I mispronounce your name on YouTube, I apologize. Buzzy Body Boyo. Are there any great vegan egg rolls that you love? I got here a little late, so sorry if this has already been answered.
Vegan egg rolls. Well, it's my vegetable egg roll. It's pretty much vegan, you guys.
Yeah.
I would probably just only take out the sesame oil. I'm not sure if that would cause any vegan issues. But also, I won't be using egg. You can just use water to seal it. But and that's rice paper. There's also a vegan I think there's a vegan egg roll wrapper as well. So, which is almost like a flour vegan kind of thing. It's a flour-based thing, or vegan flour. But yeah, it's vegetables. Just to let you know, my book has many, many, many recipes. Of course, I'm a meat and potatoes guy. I have tons of meat, vegetables, or meat and vegetable recipes. Please, if you are a vegetarian or vegan, interchange any meat protein in my recipes for your favorite veggies. Instead of using a meat, use aubergine, or eggplant. Grilled eggplant, first of all. Grill it. If you want to put squash. Use every beans, of course. It's very vegan to use black beans, kidney beans, any type of bean. I love using, chickpeas. It replaces a lot of my stuff. I love chickpeas. I could eat chickpeas just sauteed with a little bit of heat, a little bit of red pepper flakes, a little bit of olive oil, and serve it on a salad. I'm telling you what, that's actually what people think, what the heck did you just do? It's just sauteed chickpeas, guys.
Yeah. All right, so that's the secret then.
Yeah, but very good question. Thank you.
Yeah, this is sesame oil is totally fine. I'm going to have to watch from the beginning. So there we go. That's right. If you show up late to class, guys, you might miss some stuff.
That's all right. You're not going to go to detention, but you'll just have to repeat the course. As you see, the touch that I put in is soy sauce. Okay, the soy sauce in my beef and potato egg roll is kind of like my gravy substitute. That's going to get your olfactory receptors saying, this literally tastes like a dinner that I had at grandma's, and she served potatoes, mashed potatoes, gravy, and this delicious beef, roast. It's the soy sauce. So right now you have a beef and potato mix. I added the soy sauce. Everything's going to be incorporated. As this cools, it has to cool, you guys. Everything has to cool before you roll it in any wrapper, or else you're going to have mush. So I'm going to let this go, get cooled real quick, and I will be right back. You got that? Okay. All right. So let me clear out real quick to set up the rolling station. And I have a little treat for you guys.
Ooh.
So in my book, there is also a tapa, or an hors d'oeuvre. It's called, what the heck is it called? Krabby Patties. Krabby cakes. Krabby Patties. That's a show. That's
the animated version, right?
Squidward.
Oh my god, why'd you...
SpongeBob. That's SpongeBob. No, it's not Krabby. So I have crab cakes. Now, my crab cakes are pure. When I say crab cakes, that's all it is. It's lump crab meat. There's no filler, only a binder. And my binder is what's going to accentuate my crab cakes. So I actually made a batch of crab cakes earlier. My family ate it and demolished it. I don't think I have any left. But I saved a couple scoops of the lump crab cake that was mixed in my beautiful dressing that I make it with, which is basically a bit of mayo, cayenne pepper. It's salt and pepper. It is some Dijon mustard. It's also a little bit of Old Bay, and it's delicious. It's a really simple mix, and that's the only binder I use. Now, to help it stay together, I'll put the crab cake, I'll form them, and then put them in a cold blast. I'll put it in the freezer, or if I'm going to wait a long while before guests get here, I'll put it in the refrigerator. So what I did was I saved a little few scoops of the mix. I'm going to add it in with some mix of the veggie roly-polies. So I'm going to make you a crab, seafood, vegetable egg roll as an egg roll number 3.
Yes, I dig it.
I almost did that too.
I dig it. That's awesome.
So let's get started there. Let me bring this over. I'm going to show you how I roll it. It's real simple. I'm going to move you away. Can somebody get this for me? Thank you. Oh, I cramped. How about this? Can somebody take this away from me? Thank you. So, basically, I have my egg roll wrappers on the side here, always covered with some a nice thick kitchen towel. You have to keep it moist. I have simply a little bit of flour, and I always dress my rolling station with flour, but I also will dress my landing station after I roll it with flour.
So why are you dressing the landing station also?
Yes, you have to, or it'll stick, and you will find yourself making a portion of an egg roll because you can't get half of it off.
Gotcha.
So let me put this here. Now for the sealer, I like using just a plain white egg. You know, a lot of people like using a wash. I like using the egg yolk too. Now, if you're vegetarian or vegan, I think you don't want that egg yolk. You can use water or just the white, something like that. Let us put this here. So, I'm going to start with the veggie egg rolls. May I have the veggie mix? Thank you. Awesome. So, I don't have to do this particularly with the vegetable egg roll. What I mean is I don't have to put it in a piping bag. I like to make my makeshift piping bag, but it's really simple to use this. I will show you just how to use a piping bag with my beef and potato egg rolls, just so you use how I incorporate this. But it's so simple to kind of portion this out. I just want to show you. Okay, so this is a veggie roly-poly. And so I'm going to use the spring roll wrapper, which is the rice paper wrapper. Again, it's very thin, and you have to kind of always cover it, and you want to work with it quickly. All right, they come in pretty good squares. Thank you very much, because the other ones do not. So what I do is, can I have a? Oh no, I can do. Can I have a spoon real quick? Any old spoon, fork, it doesn't matter. I was going to use my hands, I will anyway. But thank you. Okay, so what you do is this beautiful mixture. I'll show you this beautiful mixture, a colorful mixture of the vegetables are in here. It's just onion, scallions. It's green pepper. Green beans. It's purple and green cabbage, as well as some garlic. And I said onions. This has sesame seed in it. All right, so it's basically you eyeball it. Okay, I'm going to make a typical size egg roll, which means something that's usually served wrapped and whole. Okay, so I will not be cutting this. So it's very easy. Just put it to bed, both sides over. It's in my book also. There are pictures there. Easy. I'm doing it very snug because you don't want any air in it. And I'm going to seal it.
We've got a comment here from Rachel, by the way. It says, I'm so looking forward to this. I'm bad at folding dough, and stuff always comes apart when I try.
Oh, you're funny. Now, is it because does it crack, or is it too hot? Is the mixture too hot? That's typically the reason why it cracks. Like this, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not going to hide it. This cracked because it was still a little hot. So I'm going to go ahead and double wrap it because I actually like the crispness. So you might want to just watch the temperature of your mixture. You know, you really want it to be quite cool.
Rachel says it doesn't seal well, like at the edges I fold, ? So Rachel, are you like, when you fold it, are you saying like the seam that you're creating is opening, or? I guess we'll wait for...
Okay, that's why I like using egg. It's quite sticky. And what I like to do is really, really seal it. So right now, that's not going anywhere, okay? And once this dries, it's definitely not going to open up. So I'm going to help it dry by landing it in a dry area, which is basically just a bed of, flour.
Yeah. So
that is going to be good.
She says, "I've been using water!" Exclamation mark. Yes, the seam. So that's, I guess that's
okay.
the issue.
Sure. After you seal it with the water, are you rolling it over and letting it sit on the seam? Because when it dries, it will seal. So you might want to check that one out. All right, so this is a typical size of an egg roll that you would serve. It's actually a little larger. I'm going to do a little bit chunkier, munkier. And this is an egg roll that will cut in half and on the bias, and you can actually serve them as a side dish salad along with your meal. So it will be different than a tapa or an appetizer. So again, try to keep it cool. See, it's a little warm. I basically used maybe, I'd say 4, 5, 6 big tablespoons of this lovely vegetable mix. It's a little thicker. I know because I can actually overlap my seams here. I'm going to go over, and now it looks like a mini burrito.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to seal. That's why I like egg wash. I really do. But water works. You just have to make sure when you flip it, you seal it again as far up as possible. You don't just seal the corner. Seal as far up as you can, if you can see that. And then land it dry. Okay? So that's going to work. Okay, now for the little fun stuff, a little extra doozy woozy that we're going to do. I am going to get some lump crab meat that I had saved extra. Lump crab meat I saved extra. This is my Krabby Cakes recipe in my book, and I'm going to combine it with a little hand spoonful of egg roll. Not too much. Mix it up. This is lump crab cake, so I don't want to pulverize it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually...
So while you're mixing and finding the proper one you want to go with, how many recipes would you say are in the book? 60 recipes. The last 6 are really sauces, but I have desserts, I've got pasta, I've got meats, I've got appetizers, I've got seafood, I've got veggies, I've got everything you absolutely would ever want from a cookbook. So I got to ask, because I'm curious now, before the show we were talking a little bit about baking and sort of the difficulties therein. So desserts, what kind of desserts are we talking about here?
Oh, the desserts I have in my cookbook?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. I love these. I love chocolate chip cookies. I love triple chocolate chip cookies. So I have perfected my Chunky Monk cookies, I call them. I also have tassies, which is basically pecan tassies. Just imagine a big pecan pie that I just made them minuscule.
Yeah.
Delicious, buttery crust. Just, you cannot get enough of them, and I actually have to keep baking them because they go really fast. I've got leche flan, which is very popular in the Filipino culture, a flan. I have a beautiful flan made with a caramelized topping on it. It's so good. I also have mini cheesecakes. They're called ubikins because they're in ramekins. They're basically an ube cheesecake. It's lovely. And then, I have, what's your favorite? Oh, goodness. Yes. Oh, lemon shorties. Shorties or lemon squares, which most people would know out in the world. I call them lemon shorties because I actually make them taste like shortbread crusts. I kind of incorporate a Filipino flair, which we add cashews to a crust. for a dessert called Sans Raval, which is just a very decadent, buttery, frozen dessert. And I just kind of incorporated that. What else we got? Oh, and my uncle's chocolate chip pancakes.
Ooh.
I have to say that. I know it's not necessarily dessert, but I can eat it as a dessert because I eat piles of it and it looks like a cake.
See, the chubby guy in me hears that and goes, great, it's dessert, it's breakfast. I don't have to feel guilty. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Absolutely. Never feel guilty.
After dinner, don't worry.
Never. I say if you're cooking for food from scratch or from a book, I wouldn't feel guilty. Are you kidding me? I feel guilty if I ordered out.
Yeah, exactly. We've got another... Oh, go ahead.
So real quick, Drew, yeah. This is your crab veggie egg roll, spring roll. Hello. Hello.
So we do have a question here. Can you fry the veggie egg rolls or egg rolls in general, or is that inauthentic?
One more time.
Can you fry the veggie egg rolls or egg rolls in general, or is that inauthentic?
We're definitely frying them. This is definitely a fried egg roll. We're actually going to heat up that oil right now. It's definitely, all my egg rolls are fried. I don't make that egg roll. That's more of a, I think it's more of a Thai egg roll, which uses this flimsy rice kind of paper. It's usually round. They dip it into some water and it kind of gets loose and gets very soft and it's uncooked. But mine are all fried. All my egg rolls are fried. You cannot bake any of my egg rolls. I'm telling you that right now.
All right.
All right. So hopefully you like fried food. All right. I'm gonna move on to some beef and potato egg rolls. So may I have the beef and potato? Can you take this away? That's a good question though. Yeah, all my egg rolls were fried. You want the crunch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I'm all about texture. I'm all about building flavors in anything and as many textures I can get. If I was going to have like a sauteed olive oil noodles type of veggie thing, I would grill the vegetables before I throw it in and toss it in. Why? Just a different texture. That's the way you do it, guys. You just kind of like caramelize, kind of brown things and just add different techniques. The more techniques you use and put it in one dish, you will wow everybody. So,
all right.
Got that, Drew?
I got it.
All right.
So I gotta ask. Go ahead. Yeah. Tell me about the bag. No. I've got a billion questions in my head.
Makeshift bag. This is a great opportunity, and it's in my book. I make makeshift piping bags to make it a lot easier to keep a uniform mold, so to speak, in whenever I'm going to roll something out, such as a meat mixture. This is a perfect example of a mixture that I'd love to just keep uniform. I could certainly do it with my fingers and a spoon and whatnot, but this will, as you'll see, it's quite easy using a piping bag of sorts. These are not square. It's okay. It will be totally fine. And what you do is you just put a couple scoops of your beef and potato egg roll. This is really nice. It's cooled. That's great. Nice. Ooh, a lot of chunky potatoes. I love seeing chunky potatoes. Okay, so for the corner, of course, I'm just gonna cut maybe a inch and a half, perhaps. If not, if I don't get it right, I can always swoop it one more time. That's how you'll see. I will go swoop once. So I'm going to keep this for now. I'm going to show you this is going to be like a typical side of a hors d'oeuvre egg roll.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, again, it's not completely square. Flip it over. These are very, very pliable. These flour-based egg wraps. Easier to work with actually than any rice paper, and they're always sold out at the stores. I mean, people love using them.
Yeah.
Use them forever. And there you go. These actually, who was the lady who had asked about the sealing? These seal quite easily because it's a flour base and it just adheres easier. Rice paper is a little bit more difficult, but as you can see, it was quite simple. Okay. One more, I just want to show you the meal version. Now these are just basically thicker. If you have anybody who is a little bit more hungry and you're serving it more as more of a heartier appetizer. You can make it a thicker, larger size, and then cut it on the bias, cut it and open it up, and it's great. So what I'm going to do is didn't do anything to the sealer bag. I'm just going to swipe twice. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I did. Shape it a bit.
So this is the one for me, right? This is the one.
This is the one. Yeah, this is yours, Drew. I'll send it over. I'll FedEx.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
No worries.
I'll have to fight people at the store, but guys, back off.
All right, I'll make a bunch. Okay, so that's a little thicker, as you can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. Easy peasy. All right, let's get to frying, you guys. Let's take this away. We are gonna fry. I'm gonna put this away. Clear my station.
So while you're clearing, I want to ask a question about the book process as well.
Yeah.
So, first of all, how did you come up with? How did you come up with 60 recipes? It's got to be the first question. And what was the process like creating this book?
Wow. Very good question. And I think I'm going to feel at ease telling you this. I'm not going to hold back.
All right, go.
It was quite difficult. I'm not a writer. I've never written anything longer than a short story for school back in the day. Mm-hmm. Now, I found it quite challenging to actually stop writing when I started.
Okay.
When I started, all it was from memory. I used no books, I used no cards, no old anything, and just pieced together memory of the tastes, olfactory tastes. Just that's why it sounds like I'm kind of talking to you and I'm sitting there right next to you. I'm literally writing it the way I remembered it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, and I actually kept writing. I wrote more than 60 recipes. I had to kind of pick and choose which ones I was going to put in this first book, Drew. A little secret, but I found it quite easy. It just happened. I think because I love to cook. You love to cook, and it was almost like, oh, okay, I'll just write how I put it together. I'll write as I cook. So it was quite fun, really, that part of it. It's the editing that I found crazy. I mean, to edit yourself after you've already spewed out this, these thousand words, and that's the hardest part. But the creativeness of making the dishes was quite fun and quite easy, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's literally just writing down my recipe, and this is how I remember it. And how I remember the recipe is the intros to the recipe, each recipe. It was quite fun. Yeah.
I dig it. So then the follow-up to that, I guess, has got to be the pictures. So how does that work? Because I'm always curious. Do you take pictures yourself? Do you have to bring a photographer in? Do they send? What's the deal?
Well, I'm pretty artsy-fartsy, but I have to tell you, you don't have time to take pictures yourself. I would have loved to. I'll tell you straight up. I would have loved to done the photography too, but you're under the gun, man. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're buying the supplies, you're cooking, cleaning, you're buying the supplies. You have six days. It's crazy. So my photographer, thank goodness, Ken Goodman Photography out there. # Ken Goodman Photo is a world-renowned photographer, and it's just an honor that he said yes to wanting to participate and be my photographer to my first cookbook, because he is taking pictures for chefs that we all admire. And then there's me. It was just a fluke. It was great, but I think it's because he also liked the writing. The writing was, I write quite whimsical. I almost write like it's a script because I'm an actor.
Yeah.
So I think he kind of dug the names. All the names are quite whimsical and kind of funny, and they're unique. And he said yes, and I was floored. So thank goodness he made this book absolutely gorgeous. Each picture is just stunning. It could be anything. It could be my cheese sauce. It's just beautiful. So my hat's off to his talent, his eye. But of course, I would have loved to have had my hand directly behind that candor as well. But it's tough, man. It's tough. It's not easy writing a book, you guys. It's not.
Oh, we have a comment from Lodal Ghosty. Are my questions showing up? Lodal, if you have asked a question prior, I haven't seen it yet, so please just re-ask it. But I do see you asking if it's showing up, so bear with us. All right, so now we get to the frying, which is
frying.
Essential.
I like using veggie oil. You know, people like using peanut oil. Blah 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 blah. I'm a veggie oil guy because guess what? That's all Mama used to buy was veggie oil. Constantly. So I didn't veer away from what I knew. What you're going to want to do is get it up to about 325. It's most people are like, how do you know that? Blah 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 blah. 350 is what you use to fry chicken. This stuff's already cooked. You're just frying the outside, really. So it doesn't have to be as hot as the Jesus. It just has to be 350. You're just browning it to a beautiful color that you want. You do have to be careful now. Let's pretend I'm only using one die, so we don't have to pretend. So I'm going to do the vegetable spring rolls / egg rolls first. Why? Because the beef and potato ones have a little bit of soy sauce in it, correct? I don't want that soy sauce to kind of seep into my veggies and kind of cross-contaminate in a sense. But usually I would do separate vats of oil. So same temperature though. So let's start with the vegetable one.
Excellent.
It's going to be quick, you guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be really quick.
Little Ghosty's
I'm
question
literally
came in.
What's that?
Little Ghosty's question came in. They want to know, is that a sort of wok, the pan we're using?
This is a mini wok. Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
It's just a mini wok. That's funny. I had a question about woks before. Of course, you could use the big woks, but I'm using a kind of a conduction top here. It was hard for me to use a big one. I love the big ones. I have two big woks at home. I use them for everything, always. It doesn't matter what I'm making. I'm comfortable using a wok. This is nice. It conducts heat very, very well. The darker ones, for some reason, the green ones tend to be a little thicker, kind of like Captain America's shield. So I kind of don't like it because I can't really control the heat. That's why you need it. I don't typically always use a thermometer. So if you do use a thermometer, go for it. No problem. All right. I put that in for a minute. It's already a beautiful shade that I love.
Yeah.
A golden crisp. All right. Let me get the other one here. This is still the vegetable egg roll. Notice I'm just doing it one at a time. People crowd the egg roll, the frying of the pot all the time. I really don't. Take your time, guys. Enjoy yourself. This way, nothing burns. You're right here. Don't leave. You have your beer and wine right here. Just watch it. I roll it around. It takes. I swear that was like a minute or less. This one, the heat's still nice. This way, when you're doing one at a time. Now, mind you, if you're doing batches, I get it, but you'd be using a larger pot. But you can just you can control the temperature better whenever you're doing this. If I put 4 of them in there, the temperature is going to go down, and then it will seep in. Oil will seep in. That's why you have oily food, you guys. Your temperature is never on point. It goes down the more product you put into the oil. So that's just like something you want to avoid.
Yeah.
That was it. Now, Drew, this is yours. I'll be sending this one.
I'm excited.
This is your vegetable. This is your lump crab cake and vegetable. Oh my goodness!
So we've got people are loving it. They like the sound. They think it looks great. We've got another question. What happens if it opens when frying? So what's our emergency plan?
Sure. I take it out immediately. First off, one sec. I take it out immediately, let it cool. I can rewrap it if I don't have extra. Like, let's say I really need to serve this. I have no more that I've made. Take it out immediately, drain it, open it up, and either take out the insides or just wrap it again, but make sure it's cooled first.
Okay. What happens if it stays hot? What is it? Just like a danger? We don't want to hurt ourselves, or
you won't be able to wrap it. You won't be able to wrap it. The wrapper will fall apart on you.
Okay.
Remember, if it's just like the inside, the filler. If the filler's hot, I can't wrap it properly. It'll break. So, this smells like crab right now. Ooh, you lucky dog. FedEx. Call FedEx.
Perfect.
This looks great. Okay, I'm gonna take this out already. Why? I don't want the lump crab meat to cook. I really don't. It's so fresh. It's delicious. So what I have now is the 2 different sizes of the beef and potato egg roll that has soy sauce. That's why I'm doing it last. Just mind you now, this is a flour-based wrapper. Just like anything that's flour, that you use flour to fry, like if you're doing fried chicken cutlets, it's going to fry pretty quickly. So watch it. You have to really, really watch it. Again, anytime I fry, I still put the seal down. And that way, if I had the seal up and it kind of like heats up funny, it might open up. I don't want that. This is going to be this is going to be quicker than those because it's flour based. So again, serve it with any sauce you like. Oh goodness gracious! Use your favorite gravy, an au jus. I love sriracha and ketchup mixed together. That's my go-to sauce. I love spice, you guys. I love things spicy. So that was, look at that. Bubbly, real quick, finito. This is more of your hors d'oeuvre size one. Sealed down. It'll take a second. I can actually turn this baby off already as that's going. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to watch you. I'm not going to let you burn. But egg rolls are great because you can freeze these, you guys. If you don't want to serve them, like you're going to serve it tomorrow instead, but you do want to go and prep it ahead of time, you can. But what you want to do is literally just dip it into the oil for 20 seconds just to seal it real quick. Not even brown it. They'll be white. They will be. There's no browning on it. That's all you want. You just want to seal it. Let it cool, put it in the freezer or the refrigerator until you have to re-fry it again. Thaw it for 20 minutes beforehand, of course.
Lorenzo,
there you go, guys.
Once again, you've got the psychic thing going. As you're saying this, you got a question that comes in. How long can you make the fillings and keep them for? Can I prep the stuffing? Never mind, you just answered.
Longer for the meat stuffing, for sure. But I would only do a day before for the vegetable one because you want it more of a fresher thing. Sometimes I'll just saute it lightly and I won't even have it fully cooked because it fries a little bit and cooks right in the hot oil, so you could have more of even a crunchy egg roll inside.
Okay.
But you can keep it for a couple days for the meat. Great question, thank you. I'm going to show you now the way I would serve it. I'm going to move this over real quick. I'm going to take you away. Thank you. I'll leave you here. Can I have the lid for this at least? I'll just do it. Alright, I'm going to use this guy because I like this guy. I'm going to put the plate up. You can see that right here? Yeah. Thank you. Alrighty. So, pretty.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is, what I have is, I always use a bed of like lettuce or ribboned, sliced thin ribbons, cabbage, to just continue a drain for presentation. But this is just, it's already drained, it's fine. I like putting it on a rack to drain. You have to let it drain. You cannot put it on the paper towel, it'll just get soggy. If you do not have a rack with this beautiful pan, I would just put it in a regular strainer and just a paper towel, just make them stand up so it drains in one deep direction. So I am going to, what I have here is, this is the typical sauce that I would serve flipped it, which is just garlic and scallions and salt, pepper, and vinegar. Okay, and everybody wants to see me cut some some garlic.
Yeah.
So I shall do that real quick. You see, yeah, okay. So, and they asked me how the heck did I learn how to slice and dice? I practice, just like I practice my piano. I cannot play piano with crap. And I had lessons for years, but I can at least chop my veggies.
Yeah, that's a great chop. Look at that. My garlic always sticks to my knife, and then I end up having to swipe it off the knife. The whole thing.
If you put salt on your, see, if you do this, Drew, salt it, and then chop, it won't stick to your knife.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just something I learned. So you're gonna want to crush it. Do the old crush. The salt helps with that too. And I just wanted to show you guys. Everybody was interested in me cutting. That just has some salt and pepper in there. Okie dokie. Finoki. Now, what I'm going to do... Oh, serrated knife. May I have a serrated knife, folks? You need a serrated knife to cut these, or else you're just going to mush them. So, thank you, assistant. All right. What do I have here? I have a beautiful... This is the vegetable... thicker way of having a vegetable egg roll. I would typically cut it on a bias, and this is the special one. I'm sorry.
You cut mine.
This was yours. Sorry, Drew. I'm gonna have to eat it.
All right.
This is the egg. Oh my gosh. So I just plop them up like little fun soldiers. All right, and then I'll do another here. This should be this is a plain one. It's so pretty.
Yeah. Different
colors. And I would, again, since it's bigger, you would serve that kind of on the plate with like a steak. So that's like that's your salad. That's your veggie portion.
Yeah. Okay.
Now this is the beef and potato egg roll with soy sauce that I would serve typically with sriracha and ketchup mix. Beef and potato, lovely. You can see chunks of potato in there. And it's you could actually put them all together. It's very easy to tell which is which. And this is more of the size I would just serve and give someone. You could even go thinner if you wanted to. That's something you would. This is a big one, again. And let's pretend I made the kekyam one.
Okay.
Kekyam would be made in this size. And whatever we were discussing, how it was served at parties, it wasn't just cut in half on the bias. It was actually cut 1, 2, 3. And then you would lay it out like that.
Oh, that looks so good.
And it's lovely, and it's bite size. And I swear I always used to say, do you serve it that way because you don't have enough? But no, that's how it's served all the time. But how lovely is that?
That looks great.
Pretty, right? Yeah. I'm gonna have to eat one just so you can hear some crunchiness in here. This is for you, Drew.
Oh, I feel it. That's good. We're connected like that now. That looks so good, man.
Delicious. Oh my gosh. Delicious. I actually love that with sweet and sour sauce too. I like it with hot sauce. I like hot sauce. Yeah. But there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
You've got my veggie roly-polies. You've got my Bubba's beef and potato egg rolls. You've also got just a star of the show just snuck in, a crab and veggie egg roll.
So I've got one more question from the audience, and then I've got a couple final questions for you.
Sure.
So from the audience, we've got Kattee Kategate. We're gonna go with that. And again, if I did that wrong, you can nasty emails go to me, please. This looks so good. Why is the cut at an angle? Is it just for presentation?
Yeah, it's just traditional to cut it that way. It's always served that way at parties. They kind of like give you that wow factor.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, there's some that's not cut that will be brought out in the back, and people will say, "Don't even bother cutting it, thank you."
Like, just put the whole plate here.
Its presentation, it just is so nice. We used to put it on like a tiered cake thing, boom, 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 and having it up like that, it's like a party. It's just so festive, and that little on the bias cut makes it kind of like up a notch in festivities. Yeah. That's the only reason. You don't have to at all. Eat it all.
Yeah,
serve it whole.
Food is meant to be eaten, absolutely.
Yes, I agree.
So one of the questions that we love to ask here at the store whenever we do these events is, who is your authorial doppelganger? Who's the person your writing style most closely mimics? And I want to ask that to you also, but I want to twist it. I want to twist it a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Who is your chef doppelganger? That's
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is a very... I get this type of question, not particularly this exact question. People ask me who I look up to and who I've copied or watched. It's a compilation. It's literally a collage of different food personalities. Some of them aren't even chefs. They just have a show and would put things together that I would see. Oh, I kind of like that. I have had food shows on since I was little. Mm-hmm. It just soothes me. Instead of having Law and Order on all day, which I love Law and Order, I have a food station on. It doesn't have to be any particular station. I just like hearing what they're making. I'm the type of cook that if I see you cook it once, I can actually copy it.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's real interesting. As far as my writing style, mm-hmm. And I have to tell this because I've said it before just recently. I needed to write whenever I wanted to write, right? I didn't want to ever sit down in front of a computer and be assigned a time to write. So I had my phone, always have my phone with me, and I actually wrote the entire book on my phone.
Oh my God! You wrote the
wherever I was the entire time.
That's incredible.
If I was in the grocery and I just saw something and like a vegetable and I was like, oh yeah, I remember using that. I would stand there next to my cart and just type away. Or if you're driving and you smell something, a restaurant cooking some steaks, it reminds me of something. So I wrote whenever I felt like. I never felt like I had to work, because if I sat down in front of a computer and had to sit down and I had to work, it felt like work. So I'm really creative. I'm artsy fartsy. So you cannot tell me to go paint something. I have to want to paint it.
Yeah.
I have to be inspired to paint it. So that's how I wrote it. And I'm an actor, so I wrote it as if I was writing a script. Mm-hmm. So that's why it was very much, I'm literally sitting right next to you when you're reading this book. It seems like I'm sitting having a beer with you.
Yeah. It makes me so happy to know that that's your style of creation, because it's very much been mine as well. My teachers would be so frustrated with me in school because they go, you have like 3 weeks to write the paper. Why are you writing it today? I'm like, because it didn't occur to me I didn't have the idea until now.
Exactly. Some of the papers were even written better whenever you had to cram it in, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my next question, and you sort of alluded to this already.
Sure.
What's the next thing you're working on? And
Goodness gracious. Yes. Well, first of all, I'm always working for Epicurious. I have a new show I'll be shooting next week. It's a new pro chef and home cook swap.
Ooh,
Yep, that one. The new one just aired literally 3 days ago. You can look at that. It's quite hilarious. Forgive me ahead of time before you watch it. I enjoy myself a little too much on set in the kitchen there. But other than that, I actually, and I don't know if I said this to the last person, I actually forgot. I was picked out of the country to be one of the contestants for the new spin-off show for Top Chef on Bravo.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing. Congratulations.
yeah, it's called Top Chef Amateurs, and there was only 24 of us picked out of the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
We're super fans and home cooks, but of course we have to be pretty good at what we do. And it's airing July 8th, my episode. So please watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to ask you then, that gives me
Yep.
another question.
Sure.
What is your go-to? Like, what's your signature dish? If they're like, all right, impress the judges, what's your move?
Sure. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I can take credit for this signature dish because it's called Tita Kitty's Machado.
Okay.
Tita Kitty means Tita Kitty is, well, my sister is Kitty. Tita is aunt in Filipino. And it's a Machado dish, which is a beef dish with big chunky potatoes in it. It's a tomato sauce base with soy sauce in it. It's very hearty, very deep beef flavor. And I'm sorry. Oh, you serve it over rice. Thank you, of course. But it is just that comfort food. There is not a person that has ever tried it that hasn't been like, oh my gosh, I want to eat this all the time. I love it. Now, of course, I've tweaked it to my recipe several times over, but her recipe is pretty dang good too. We'll give her that. But I love that. As you can tell, I'm a beef and potato guy. But one more, if to ask me, it would be an adobo, a chicken adobo kind of meal. I love chicken adobo. You can do pork adobo. I have a pork adobo recipe. It's called Obi-Wan Kenobi. Adobe-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
In my recipe book. Adobe-Wan Kenobi. Yes, I like Star Wars. But delicious. I have so many delicious pork dishes. I can go on and on. So to tell you the answer, I gave you 3.
Perfect. So I guess my final question, and you got to limit yourself to one. It's the only rule with this question. I know.
Yeah.
All right, so it can be the last meal question or the desert island question. Depends on how you want to view it. You can it's last meal. You're only going to get one thing. You can have anything in the world. What's it going to be?
Thing.
Your final
One
meal.
thing.
Your final meal. Yeah. What's on the menu?
Steak and baked potatoes. Is that 2 things?
No, it's okay. You can just say baked potatoes. But, like, is there like a particular way you're doing the steak? Is it like mom's steak? What's the
A grilled ribeye, juicy steak and baked potato with extra scoops of butter and some corn on the cob.
Well, now I know what I'm doing for dinner tonight. So that was, you sold me. I'm going to go across the street to the grocery store, and I'm done.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me. I have to shamelessly plug my store for a moment, so
Sure.
I know I hate the sales pitch too, but hey, everybody, if you liked this and you had fun with this and went, gee, that's great, and you were eating along or watching along with us, and you want this book, and you should want this book, you can get a copy at Town Book Center. We're located in Collegeville, Pennsylvania. We are right across the street, as you heard me say, from the largest Wegmans in the country. So, 2 birds, 1 stone. Come get the book. Go across the street, get the ingredients. Go home. Eat the food. If you are not in Pennsylvania, or you're not comfortable going out yet, or you don't want to come into a store, we totally understand. You can always shop with us online at townbc.com. That's TOWN as in Nike, E as in Echo, B as in Bravo, C as in Charlie.com. If you can't tell, I said that more than once. Thank you again for joining us, folks, and thank you so much, Lorenzo, for being here with me tonight. I really
Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure. Let's do it again. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Absolutely. All right,
Thank you.
everyone.